Hi, I'm Paul from Seagate. Welcome to the Data Movement. Today, I'm joined by Richard Cullen, Technical Director from Blink, a company that focuses on live production for the biggest musicians and artists on the planet. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Data Movement. We're here today with Richard Cullen from Blink. Super great to have you on the show, Richard.
Great to be here.
We're going to be diving into some of the most leading edge, cutting edge, I would say, media workflows, probably on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we are NAB, and like, where else would we have that kind of conversation, right? This is probably the perfect place to talk about that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And so before we dive into what you have been up to, Richard, I'm super excited. Can you just tell me a little bit about Blink, some of the background, some of the story, and what kind of brings us to this point today?
Yeah. So Blink is a multifaceted post-production multimedia kind of company. We're based out of Burbank, California. We have heritage from, 15, 20 years ago, I would say now, like from London, where we started in screen advertising, and then we moved into multicam editing of music festivals, started getting into like visual production for the tours, like working with a lot of huge UK artists before moving over to Burbank about 10 years ago now. And ever since then, we've kind of just exploded. Like, we're doing bigger and bigger things. We do like Coachella headliners. We're very invested in visuals at the Sphere at the moment. And, every day we just seem to get more and more things going on. We just keep growing and growing, and like, we're very excited for the future and what we're doing. Yeah.
So you mentioned the Sphere, right? So for people who may not know what you're referring to in that context, explain what that is.
It's this incredible, dome arena where the screen kind of about 180 degrees wrapped around the audience, and like, it's this huge immersive visual experience where some of the largest bands of the world are currently on residency. They have like films and stuff going in there, and it is a phenomenal space to see music and art kind of come together, I think.
And so describe the experience of being inside the Sphere. I've only seen it from the outside.
The first time you walk in, it is incredibly disorientating, I think, because you just walk in and it's this huge screen just like up and over you. And depending on what you're looking at, right? Yeah. It can just really discombobulate you. I went to go see U2.
Oh, amazing.
Right? And I walked in there, and like, their walk-in look was like a concrete wall. And I sat down and I was looking at it, and I was like, I don't know if I can actually be in here, because I felt incredibly compressed. Like, it felt like it was a sphere that had just been shrunk, like pushed in half. It was a very odd experience. But now, like, it's, day to day, I'm there all the time. So it doesn't like bother me anymore. But it's definitely a venue where if you're walking around while something is playing, like the camera moves and tilts, you better hold on to your beer. Yeah. Because you could very easily just go, whoa, right.
So you guys at Blink get brought in to manage the full end-to-end production workflow. So you're collaborating with the venue, the technologists at the venue, and also the artists to bring the vision to life.
Yeah,
Is
like,
that how it works?
We kind of sit, we work very closely with the people at Sphere Studios. We work very closely with artist management and the band creatively. We then also manage all of our team of artists, just to kind of bring this kind of vision to life. Like, everything about that venue is incredibly hard. So you need to surround yourself with good people and good teams to be able to do it, and like good technology as well. Like, this is a very professional venue. It's a very professional environment. So you need professional people to do it. Like,
I imagine it's not a plug and play workflow or setup, right? For something, a venue that unique. What are some of the kind of considerations?
Well, I mean,
as you're going through that?
Any like venue or tour that we do, there is no plug and play for any of them, right? Every single one of them has its own unique properties, its own unique challenges. So like with something like Sphere, it's very much like making sure that we have vast amounts of storage available to hold all this data. We have incredibly fast networking, and just it's just a lot of power that you need to be able to handle things of that size to be able to work efficiently.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And so making sure you're all set up for that is setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
And even then, it's still a bit of a struggle at times, you know, but
what was the path that brought you to develop those kind of capabilities?
Well, I think, you know, we have a history of producing great content for bands, right? Like, you know, we do Coachella headliners, we do Las Vegas residencies or stadium tours and things like that. So like Sphere is like the next kind of logical step. It's just, if you think about it, it's just a screen, right? It's the same thing. It's just bigger. And so, yeah, we had to really think about our own pipelines, our own workflows of how to translate what we, you know, do day to day on anything else to something that is, you know, exponentially like 10 times bigger, right? And so we partnered with Scott Miller from MDLR Technologies to help us build Render Farm to be able to do that. And then also build all of our storage pipelines and our networking so that we can kind of work incredibly efficiently, you know, across that canvas without too much of a pain point for everyone, right? And because a lot of our teams are scattered around the world, right? We're quite a good company for our artists to be wherever they want to be. So having all of those guys work to a single source of truth to be able to do their work, you know, whether they're in Mexico, Spain, England, you know, so they can just bring everything together and to make it look as cool as what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. As you were just describing everything that goes into a production of this scale, the thought popped into my head is like, this is like the epitome of the data movement, right? Walk us through the journey of the data, the files that you're handling in this kind of, this workflow that you've been describing.
It's just needing vast amounts of storage and the speed. Because like a frame for Sphere is like a gigabyte, if not more, versus like a regular tour that we may do.
One
single frame is about like 1 gigabyte.
Okay.
So if you think about like how big is a song at that point, you're in terabytes just for a final render of the song.
Yeah.
And then obviously all the pre-comps and the projects and all the edits and progress, like it starts kind of like down here.
Yeah.
Down here. And then like when you get into like full production, it just explodes.
Yeah.
So, you know, huge, massive RAID arrays of drives. We use Suite Studios. They're a very good partner, a friend of ours, to help us move files from our remote teams when they're just kind of like noodling on their own at home to like send files to and from the farm. So they're like our single point of truth. And then we just have like a load of sync software for all of our bits and pieces so that everything is running constantly. Like there's never a point where it's like you're just working and then like, oh, we're going to hit sync now, right? The whole thing from farm to venue to the remote artist is always constantly moving back and forth. And, you know, that runs like every couple of minutes just to kind of keep up. But there will still be points where you're just like, I have 20 terabytes to move in 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
when it gets a little bit hairy. You're like, well, it can only move as fast as my read-write speeds are going to allow.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But the days of shuttling drives around, long gone. Like, it just doesn't work like that anymore. Like, you know, you just got to have huge networks set up to be able to like send things down the pipeline.
What's the choke point there for like using a drive shuttle in a workflow like this?
For using a drive, like it just
a shuttle. Yeah.
I mean, a drive would just never be able to hold a single song. Like you'd be carting huge RAIDs around if you wanted to. But even other than that, it's because everything is in frames,
right?
Moving all of that around is always going to be your bottleneck.
Yeah.
Like you need to do as many files as you can in parallel. You know, that's why File Explorer, Finder are not tools to even consider when you're working in this kind of way, right?
Yeah.
Because 60 frames a second, a song could be like 25,000 frames.
Right.
Right. And you've got to move all of that from one place to another.
Right.
To be handled and ingested and set up.
At Seagate, it's so interesting to see this play out in a real world example, but at a macro level, we study data creation, data growth. Naturally, we're a storage company, so that is something that we track really, really closely. And one of the fascinating kind of trends where you look at, kind of longitudinally, is the size of the files are just growing and growing and growing over. And if you track them over the, I think you said you've been doing this for close to a couple of decades. Can you speak to that?
You remember like buying your first like SLR camera when you were like a teenager or whatever, and you would get like a 512 megabyte like SanDisk card, $300, and you're like, oh my God, this is incredible.
So much space.
So much space. It's 512 megabytes, right? And now we're dealing with shows in the hundreds of terabytes. Like, then, a Coachella headliner could be like 5 to 10 terabytes.
Yeah.
Like, things have just gotten exponentially bigger because the technology to power screens has gotten better.
Right.
So, we've gone from SD to HD to UHD to 6K, 8, and it just keeps growing and growing. And the more these kind of things become, I don't want to say affordable because none of this stuff really is affordable, but probably more achievable. People are going to build bigger, crazier venues, bigger, crazier stage sets to give the audience a show. And we have to accommodate that and figure that out. And it's just, everything just accumulates over and over time. And data retention I think is a big problem. I think in our industry, especially like in this kind of touring world, you're constantly doing, and even with our multicam stuff that we do, right? It's like edits, changes go back. Like you're just building all this stuff all the time. And no one ever wants to get rid of anything these days either, because you never know.
Why?
I think people are just like, you never know when something's going to happen. Oh wait, I've got to go back to that thing. Or like 6 months down the line, like an artist is releasing a deluxe version of a record, or they want to have like a special re-release for an anniversary or something like that. Like, oh hey, can we open the edit back up? And I just want to like go in and noodle and fix a few things. It's like, well, we got rid of all of that stuff because we didn't need it anymore. But now if we're kind of expecting, it's almost like as a post-production company, we've almost had to also become a data storage as well to kind of hold all of this stuff, because things will come up all the time. Like someone will have a pitch for a tour, or a band will be doing something. They'll be doing a special show somewhere. Like, oh, hey, can we get that piece of media that we did 6 years ago? Right? Got to go find it, grab it, figure out what you need it for now, remake it, re-render it. So you can't get rid of anything. Otherwise you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. As much as I would love to hit delete on so much stuff. I can't, because I know the moment I do it, even if I think like, there's no way they're going to need this like version 17 edit. The moment I get rid of it, someone will be on the phone like, hey, remember when we did that cut? With that version in it, can we get that? And I'm like,
So you guys, would you say you have like a data retention strategy? Do you talk about it in those terms? Or is it just kind of part of the
we should, and it's like something that like, especially this year, I want to kind of get a bit of a better handle on, like just internally, right? Where do we store all of our stuff? Like how, because at the moment, like for our internal stuff, we have all of our QNAP systems, with our Seagate drives, obviously, in-house. Like we've got like two 60-bay racks, like one's like our live storage, one's kind of semi-cold, as it were. And then like the live stuff, like the most pressing stuff, is also then backed up on a Google Drive account. So it's always kind of in a couple of places. But we're always going to be hitting storage limits, and I would love to probably archive things to LTO tape, but like even now I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that, because once I archive it to LTO tape, I've got to keep that drive and that database around if I ever want to go back to it, and that changes every couple of years. So where do we put it? It's like, we're gonna have to start really thinking about it, I think, Sue, like long-term archive storage for everything. Because like I say, we're just accumulating data across the board, and especially like with the camera records from our multicam stuff, gotta hold on to that.
AI.
Oh no.
What's your perspective? It's so funny. Like when I ask people about it, it's always like, either like a visceral like
reaction to it, or they're like really into
or
it.
like it's like actually it's going to augment the workflow and it's going to make life easier for us. And
I think there are two paths I think to sort of AI. One is like the creative use of it and like having it generate you ideas, all this kind of stuff, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are people in this world that are incredibly talented people, have their own thoughts, their own views, that can produce way better work than an AI ever could, right? And I think having AI do that stuff is taking away work from this industry, which is not great. On the other side of that, I think there are uses where you can have it do things that maybe take a long time. They're a bit more like menial tasks, maybe like sort of like on the engineering side, like figuring out like some code and stuff like that is perhaps like something that it could be. Generally, I'm just not a fan of it at all, and I just think it should always have that human touch to it.
As in like in the role in the creative process. Is that what you're?
Yeah, like having it in the creative, I'm just really not keen on it, right? And I think there's a danger. I feel like if style frames are generated with AI, you show that to a client, they can latch on to that, and then when it gets, because like the AI is never going to be able to do it in a way that's going to work for a tour, right? Because artist notes get particular, edits are particular, timing changes constantly. Like the AI can never kind of deal with that, but they can latch onto like that style frame and be like, well, why doesn't it look like this?
Right.
It's like, well, that's because a computer did that, and it can only go up to like 1080p, and your screen is 12,000 pixels wide. Like, I don't think there's any AI engine in the world that could make a screen for that.
Yeah.
Right. And it does, although it does also dishearten me when people share like their work on tours, things like that. And like you look at comments on Instagram and Twitter where it was just like, this is AI slop.
Right.
And I think people have like seen so much AI generated stuff, they have forgotten that CG work is a real thing.
Right.
Right. They just see 3D stuff now and just assume a computer has done it, rather than some incredibly talented individual.
I was thinking about your like data wrangling, like tagging content and archiving it and knowing where it should live, like the level of accessibility it needs based on how you've labeled it.
It feels a little bit dirty still, but those are the kind of things I feel like, okay, that might be fine. Like I know like Blackmagic are doing some really interesting stuff in Resolve with it, and so is Adobe, and like, in multicams, and like if you're doing like commercials and films, like you could just search, red dress, and it will find everything that has the red dress in, because you may not have had time. Right. I mean, and who has time these days to go through and like log all those clips and fill out all the metadata tags, right? Yeah. That kind of time saving, I think, is potentially a good use of it. So it gets you into the creative part of it quicker.
Going back to that kind of file size, like growth curve, what's your outlook for the future? Like, do we just see this continued growth, and do you see that on the horizon? And then follow-up question to that is, what is the potential impact on these pipelines and compute power and network bandwidth? Yeah. Do you see those things coming to a head at any point, just based on the speed and the scale of the file size increase?
I feel like, file size I would hope is kind of almost like hitting a plateau. Like, a PNG is never going to be like bigger than what it is, right? Yeah. I'm hoping that screens are going to sort of like cap out at resolutions at this point now. Like, do we really need anything bigger at this point?
Is it 8K? Is that the target deliverable for most of what you guys do?
I mean, a lot of like for the post-production is still UHD, right? But I feel like, and I don't know how true this is, but like the human eye cannot tell the difference past 8K. Yeah. Right. Something like that. Like it's like 4 to 8K is like hard to see the difference, but like once it's past 8K, it's like, what's the point now? Yeah. And I think we need to kind of stop. There is a point where it's just like, what is it in Jurassic Park, where it's like your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they just didn't stop to think if they should. Right. That. Yeah. Please. Like we can all agree like this is good. This is like perfect. Like, let's stay here. Because if we keep making larger things, everything keeps bigger, things keep getting longer, demand keeps getting more, budgets get tighter, timelines get tighter.
Yeah.
How are we gonna turn it around? You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be that consideration of, this is how much data something is. Mm-hmm. This is the time frame we have to do it in. Mm-hmm. How, you know, these two things have to meet in the middle. Yeah. Right? And someone kicking and screaming that, hey, I gave a note, I need it in the run in 2 hours, isn't going to make it go faster.
Right.
Right. People have to understand that.
Yeah.
I would like it to just kind of plateau now, please.
The dairy.
Our render
Tell
farm.
me about the dairy.
The Burbank Dairy is the render farm that we built 2 years ago with Scott Miller to help us service the Sphere. Yeah. Because you would not be able to render Sphere content on a local machine. And so we originally started with 50 4090 graphics cards that we lovingly refer to as the cows, because, like, you know, we have this, just British humor, like, it's the farm, it's the cows, they're producing cheese for us, like, you know, we're gonna milk them for all they're worth. Yeah. And it was great, and it was like.
So this is on premise. This is.
No, it's not on premise. It's in a data center now down in El Segundo near LAX.
Okay. So you just kind of rent a space.
Yeah. So we have partnered somewhat with this company called RFX, who are already in there, and they kind of help us sort of manage our storage. We kind of share things. They help us like spin up some artist machines for our guys to remote so they can access the farm itself directly. Yeah. And that's really cool. It's like walking into the scene at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, of the Ark of the Covenant. You see rows and rows of data banks. It's very impressive. So we built that. We had 50 4090s that was able to handle a Sphere show. We used it on a few other things. And it was good. And now we have expanded. So now we have 100. We have 100 GPUs. We have a bunch of 5090s. We have a bunch of 4090s in there. We have a whole bunch of like Ceph cluster storage. We've got a bunch of QNAPs. We've got all the 100 gig networking and all that kind of stuff. And I think like it's really useful for our industry to have this, because it's a very personable render farm for us. Like we're very hands-on with it. Like all of our friends and our studios, they use it. Everyone has access to it. We can like monitor and like deal with it, right? Yeah. And it's C4D, Redshift, Octane, After Effects, like a whole bunch of stuff. And it's fantastic. And I don't think we wouldn't be where we are now with a lot of our content if we hadn't have invested, I want somewhat of $1 million, I think, into doing that.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
It's not cheap gear at all, unless like the power it consumes is crazy. Yeah. So, we've got that now. Like we're kind of doing a bunch of other Sphere shows on it. We rendered some of the Coachella stuff on it.
You use those resources specifically or exclusively for Sphere content?
No, we built it because of that, but it is like usable everywhere else. Like, so like I say, we did a Coachella headliner this year. We did Sabrina Carpenter, and we rendered some of the content on that. And what would have taken our guy like 10 hours on his computer, which, in the grand scheme of things, 10 hours to render a song, not the worst in the world, but we sent it through our farm and he had it back in 10 minutes.
Okay. So serious like efficiency.
It's serious efficiency. So, yes, it does a lot of our Sphere stuff. And because of the nature of Sphere, it kind of gets locked up rendering those. Like, we could have frames up of 2.5, 4 hours a frame. Yeah.
So you'd use that when you were really up against a tight deadline?
Yeah.
And you need to do a quick turn?
Yeah, quick turnarounds on everything else. But like when it's a Sphere show, it's up and it's running, and it's been rendering for about 2 months at this point. It's just constantly going. And the more people that use it and do these things, like they see the benefit and the ease of this versus like, and I love them, but like going to like Fox Render and the render farm over in Chinese, like those guys are fantastic. But sending them files via then downloading it's just that time spent doing that stuff versus being connected to it, submitting it, and then it's rendered, it's already on a drive that you have mounted. You don't have to push and pull it at all. Like it just saves so much time and headache for everyone. I think people really love that.
So more and more of your client workflows going to start using?
Yes. Yeah, like I think, the more shows we do, the more things we'll kind of, we'll just run through it. And I think it's going to give people, I think, time back. right? And I'm hoping that time saved on the render farm isn't then spent on doing more notes and changes.
Right.
But like then people can go outside and go to the pub.
Yeah.
That's
obviously.
That's my goal. Is like the Burbank Dairy Render Farm should help people render their things faster so they can go down to the pub.
Yeah.
That's going to be the website tagline, I think.
I like it. So is this like just a natural evolution of infrastructure for media workflows? Like where there's big data volumes that needed to be processed and managed?
Yeah, I think so. Like it was something that we'd considered doing for a long time. And I think it was when we got our first Sphere job, which was the UFC fight.
Yeah.
Like that kind of made it, this has to be a necessity now, right? And I wish we'd built it sooner. Like I remembered, long nights just watching renders go, like trying to deliver it, and then like, they have them fail, and it's a nightmare. So it was something that needed to happen, and I'm glad that we did it, and I'm excited to like give it up to all my friends to use to help them out.
Yeah. So you like virtualize it and then
it's all like a hyper virtualized environment. I don't really know too much about it. Like that's very much Scott Miller's bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a hyper virtualized environment. We have virtual artist machines so the guys connect and work on, which is just like working a computer from home. And there's all, Ceph storage clusters everywhere, like the 100 gig network. It's a very impressive thing that Scott Miller likes to say is built on hopes and dreams. Yeah. Because it is just like, we've kind of just built this thing and now it's like, it's a little bit unwieldy, but like we manage it and it's fantastic. Like watching something go, watching Deadline, like we like to call it Deadline TV, and like as if it's like some sort of like Spanish novella. Yeah. And just watching a project just like load up and just go, it's very satisfying, really nerdy way to watch Deadline. And just see something render really fast. It just gives me a small amount of joy. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that kind of innovation is the future, right? People want to spend more time in the pub and they want to get their deadlines expedited. So what about like you mentioned like how much power these things consume? What's the kind of cost to time saved ratio?
Very expensive.
Yeah.
It just saves a ton of time. And I think that the value of it, like the money spent on like the electricity and the power and the cooling and all this kind of stuff, just lets us work faster, right? And deliver on time.
Yeah.
So it's worth its weight in gold, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Lightning round. Richard Cullen, of all the shows and productions you've worked on, which one are you most proud of and why?
J Balvin at Coachella 2019. Two reasons. One, they moved the set up during the day so it would happen at sunset so he could perform in the dark so the screens had the most visual impact. And two, because Variety called it the best set that Coachella had ever seen, and that included Beyonce.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Compute, storage, or networking, which one should technical teams optimize for first?
Obviously, it's got to be storage, right? Correct. Because without storage, we can't do any of what we do.
Without storage, there's no data.
Yeah.
No data, there's no show.
And without data, there's no data movement.
There you go. Okay. Biggest technical mistake you've learned from without incriminating yourself?
Never delete anything without checking.
There's a backstory to that I'm going to ask you off camera.
Yeah, we'll take that off camera, yeah.
What's the single biggest technical bottleneck you've already solved, and what's the one that you know is coming?
Well, render times, I think, was a bottleneck, but obviously we built the farm to help that. And the one that's coming, I think, is just storage. Like, we're going to run out at some point, and then it's always more. It's always more. You've got to keep adding, and costs of scale.
What's your best advice for creatives who want to become more technical, or for technologists who want to serve creatives better?
Get a good understanding of the software you use, right? So Premiere editors who are happy like cutting, understand the underlying fundamentals of that program, how it works, why things work, why setting up something in one way is better than the other. Just really get to know what you use rather than just being like, well, I just cut video all day. I can just go cut and not have to think about it. Yeah, better understanding of it will make your life a lot easier.
Well, Richard, I appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
It's been such an interesting conversation. I learned a ton from you. Like, it's such an iconic feature, the sphere. So being able to talk about what goes on in terms of like bringing something like that to life.
Thank you very much for having me. Like, it's my first podcast. So, and my first NAV. So it's nice to do it here.
Yeah.
And, see a bunch of familiar faces and see a bunch of friends around here. It's really cool.
Great to have you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
That's it for this episode of The Data Movement. Thanks, Richard, for joining us, and you for listening. Subscribe for more episodes about how data is moving the world forward.